Hey guys, it's Hey553. Welcome back to another Beyblade X unboxing and review. Today we're going to be checking out the next two booster packs from Wave 8 of Hasbro, that being Savage Bear and Cursed Mummy. So going over the packaging for both, as you can see, standard booster pack packaging we're used to at this point. And then on the back goes over all the parts Savage Bear comes with. So for Savage Bear, we get the Savage Bear blade, of course. Ratchet is $5.60, and then we get the flat bit. And then for Mummy Curse, very similar deal, pretty standard packaging as well. And then on its back, of course, we have all the parts it comes with. So with Cursed Mummy, we have the Cursed Mummy blade. Ratchet is $7.55, and then we have the wedge bit. So let's get into these releases. So here is Savage Bear and Cursed Mummy out of the packaging. So two pretty interesting releases here. One of them was of course released in a stadium set, and the other one was the prize bay in a random booster. So two different spectrums here when it comes to these releases. But let's now go over both of them individually and all their parts. So first off, we're going to have a look at Savage Bear. Now, we originally did get Savage Bear in Wave 2 of Hasbro with 360 Spike, I believe the original combo was. But this is a repack of the Bear Scratch that was included in the Double Extreme set from Takara. Now, as you know, the Hasbro release of the Double Extreme did not come with Bear Scratch, but we got it as a booster, which was a rumor for a little while, till we got a little bit of confirmation at the New York Toy Fair. So, pretty interesting move. I'm not too sure how to feel about that, but I'll go over that at the end of the video. But let's now take a deep dive into all the parts Savage Bear comes with. So first off, we have the Savage Bear blade itself. Now, Savage Bear is a defense type BX blade, so obviously we have the plastic covering over the gear chip. Now, Savage Bear is a retool of Rhino Horn, so you do have very similar shaping to that. But on the other side though, it is very light. It is in fact pretty much a whole 3 grams lighter, which isn't great. So as a result, this blade does get knocked around quite a bit. But again, it is also just a repaint of the original Savage Bear from Wave 2. So you already will know what to expect from this blade if you do already own this. So pretty cool though that we are getting this separately from the Double Extreme though. But I got a feeling this may annoy some people that bought the original Double Extreme just for this blade. But even still, really happy to see it get a standard release from Hasbro. Even though we've gotten this blade before, technically. But still, I do like the colors of this Savage Bear. Next up, we have the 560 Ratchet. So, pretty nice Ratchet to get here in a booster again. I'm pretty sure the last time we got on this Ratchet was actually with Unicorn Sting in Wave 2. At least when it comes to the booster format. So, pretty happy to get it here. While it can be a little bit bursty at times, and some of the 560 Ratchet locks can be notoriously loose, this is still a really nice Ratchet to get here. Plus, really like the colors here. But apart from that, it is a part we've gotten before, but still a really nice part to get here. Finally, for the bit, we have Flat. Honestly, nothing too crazy to talk about here. This is a bit we have gotten quite a few times now, but still, it's an alright attack type bit. It's just a bit outclassed nowadays. It does get used from time to time, but I mean, can't really complain too much about it being here. Plus, really do like the colors it's in. With this combination of parts, it makes Savage Bear an attack type, but let's now focus what I would think is the main star of the show between these two, and that being Cursed Mummy. So this is the prize bay from Random Booster Volume 8. So really cool to see Hasbro already release this. And we get some really nice parts here as well. But let's now take a deep dive into everything Cursed Mummy comes with. So first off, we have the Cursed Mummy blade itself. So Curse Mummy is a UX Beyblade, so long chunks of plastic, and the middle is more allocated to the outer weight distribution. Now for the main gimmick that makes Curse Mummy probably very unique overall. So on one side you have this, what they call like a tongue per se. This is Curse Mummy's counter mode. So when you launch this initially, this tongue sticks out, so it forms basically a counter. And it does some really crazy recoil. And then as it slows down, it slowly retracts, so making it a more defensive mode. So as a result, Curse Mummy has some crazy recoil and really awesome counterattacks right out of the gate. And as it slows down, it becomes a lot more defensive. And it works really well. Now, the main struggle with Curse Mummy though, is that it is going to struggle against stamina types, mainly Wizard Rod and Clock Mirage. But even despite that, this is an extremely solid defense type. This is probably what really has helped defense types become a bit of a threat again in Beyblade X. And it works exceptionally well. I mean, I use Curse Mummy myself on 150 Hexa. So, it does work really, really well. So, if you want a bit of variety, and you don't like using stamina types, definitely consider using this blade. Next up, we have the 755 Ratchet. So 7 attrition points at the 55 height. So this was a brand new simple ratchet introduced with Curse Mummy in its original random booster. Now being a simple ratchet, it's got a simple lock, so he is going to be a little bit more susceptible to bursting. But being a more defensive ratchet works in its favor quite a bit, as a lot of people tend to run this ratchet on Clock Mirage because of its defensive build, and being a little bit thicker than the original 7-sided ratchets. And it works pretty well. It's probably one of the best simple ratchets that they've released so far, as it, well, works. But apart from that, nothing too crazy, but it's definitely probably one of the best simple ratchets you can use in the game right now on certain days. But even still, pretty happy to see it here in a booster finally. Finally, for the bit, we have Wedge. Honestly, really great defensive type bit to get here in a booster now. It's basically a defensive rush, and it works exceptionally well. Wedge is definitely one of those bits that can easily be able to outspin certain stamina or balance type bits. And it works really well. Now, main downsides with Wedge though, due to its thin profile, it can get caught on the top of the extreme line sometimes, and it can get toppled over with the right hits. But even despite that, this is a fantastic defense type bit, and I honestly recommend using it. I use it quite a bit on my Wizard Rod, and it works really, really well. So, if you use it on the right bay, this will definitely be very, very useful. With this combination of parts, it makes Curse Mummy a defense type. So let's now head over to the scales and weigh up both bays and see how much they all weigh. Alright, let's now do some weights for Savage Bear and Curse Mummy. So we'll start off with Savage Bear. So the flat bit, that weighs 2.22 grams. The 560 ratchet, that weighs 6.66 grams. And then the Savage Bear blade weighs 29.66. So yeah, that is fairly light. Compared to the original Savage Bear from Wave 2, that one weighs about the same, just like 0.02 grams lighter, so not much difference there. But they are quite a bit lighter than the original Rhino Horn by about 3 grams, so they are on the light side, which isn't great. So let's put Bear together. There's the full combo. I mean, I gotta say, the colors of the ratchet and bit are really nice. So altogether, Savage Bear weighs 38.52 grams, so not the worst weight, but he is definitely quite a bit lighter than other bays. Now for Curse Mummy, the wedge bit, that weighs 1.83 grams. 755, that weighs 5.57. And then the Curse Mummy blade, that weighs 37.67, so that is pretty heavy. Just comparing it to the Mummy Curse I've been using in battles so far, that one weighs 37.22, so The heaviest I've seen this go for is around 37.8, so this one is on a bit on the higher end. But even still, the weight is really good for Mummy. So let's put the bay together. 755, and wedge. Here's the full combo. So all together, Curse Mummy weighs 44.98 grams, so pretty good weight for it. But let's now get these two out into the stadium and do some test spins and some test battles. Alright, now we're going to do some test spins and some test battles with both Curse Mummy and Savage Bear. So we'll start off with Bear. So being on flat, it's going to move around quite quickly. But if you've already messed around with Bear from either the original Double Extreme release or the Wave 2 booster, you know what you're going to expect from this bay. And it's like, at least with some of the retools from Rhino, they can be a little bit competitively viable, but Bear probably not as much, considering he is a lot lighter. But still, I think he does look really cool though with the colors. And now for Curse Mummy. Now being on wedge, it's going to stay relatively in the center. Now, even on the stock combo, this actually should be pretty solid. I mean, wedge is a really good defensive type bit. 755 is actually a pretty decent simple ratchet. Plus, I've been running Mummy all the time anyway with 150 Hexa. That's been my go-to combo for this bay. But it's really good to see defense types get a much needed boost like this, because defense types have definitely been lacking for a long time. So to be able to get a defensive type that can actually act defensively is really solid. I got a feeling probably out of Wave 8, at least with the boosters, I got a feeling Mummy Curse might be the one that will sell out fast. That's what I think, but let's now do some test spins. Let's do some test battles with these two bays. Ooh. Okay, I guess Bear can have a little bit of a kick to it sometimes. Okay. I guess Bear just don't want to battle today. Ooh. 560 can be a little bursty sometimes, especially if you got a really weak ratchet lock. Dustbag getting a lucky hit there. Yeah, I just pitted it up against raw just so you can see how it does struggle against stamina types, which it does tend to. Like, you can get a lucky hit sometimes, but not always. So that is it for my look at Savage Bear and Cursed Mummy. I'm honestly really happy with both of these bays in their own retrospectives. Cursed Mummy in one way and then Savage Bear in the other way, but I'll explain how I feel about both of them individually now. Starting off with Savage Bear, I think this is definitely going to be appealing to those that have been wanting this blade. If you didn't get the original Double Extreme from Dakar, this is definitely going to be an excellent way to get this blade. And if you missed out on the original Savage Bear from Wave 2, you now have another shot of getting this blade here with some different parts. Now, for those that say bought the Double Extreme from Hasbro, and then to see this get released as a booster, I can definitely see a few people getting a little bit peeved because of it, because considering that Hasbro and Dakar took this out and then released it as a booster, and especially considering the price of the Double Extreme from Hasbro, yeah, I do feel like this may annoy a few people. But if you never wanted the Double Extreme and just wanted the Bay, this will be an easy way to get it. So it just kind of depends on where you land here. If you didn't pick up the original Savage Bear, you've just been wanting this blade but not the Stadium, and if you already bought the original Stadium from either Hasbro or Dakar. So it's really going to depend on what side you land on how you feel about this. Now, I already bought the original Double Extreme, and I did kind of want a second one, so I'm actually pretty happy to have an extra one here. So, pretty cool though that you can actually get it in the booster now, but it's definitely not going to be for everyone. As for Cursed Mummy, I absolutely love it. It's great to see Hasbro already release this bay, considering that we only had its random booster not too long ago. So great to get this bay here, and all the parts it comes with are pretty solid. 755 is one of the best simple ratchets you can use right now. A lot of people using it on Clock Mirage. And Wedge, it is a little bit of a niche bit with some people, but I honestly find it extremely solid, and it is able to outspin certain stamina types, which is really good. So, great way to get all these parts in a booster. While Mummy Curse does struggle a bit against certain stamina types, I think that is honestly something that can easily be overlooked with what is honestly one of the best defense types you can use right now. So my final thoughts on both of these boosters are pretty good. Savage Bear, I think, is really going to appeal if you don't already have it, or you just missed out on the original Savage Bear from Wave 2. Mummy Curse, though, I find an exceptional choice for a booster, and I definitely highly recommend you pick it up, not just for the blade, but for all the parts it comes with. So yeah, some pretty decent booster packs, and I do recommend them both, if you don't already have Savage Bear, of course. But anyways, that is going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Beyblade X videos in the future, and until then, I'll see you all in the next video.